So if there is a cemetery next to a vegetable garden, would you eat the vegetables?
Depends on how far away it is from the cemetery. And how old is the cemetery?
I don't know, 100 years old.
I might try
And
it. If it tastes funny, I won't eat it anymore.
adjacent to each other by like a fence. So you don't know where the roots of these vegetables are actually going.
I'd still try it.
I mean, if it's got good tomatoes,
Yeah,
it's worth a
that's
try.
exactly what I was thinking, yeah. Yeah. People put compost and everything in their gardens to make their vegetables taste better. So maybe whatever's coming out of that cemetery is feeding it and making it taste better. If it tastes better, I don't wanna know what's in it.
Just something random that I saw on TikTok and I thought it was interesting.
Hi, I'm Lisa.
I'm Samantha.
Happy Halloween and welcome to X-UMED. In tonight's episode, I'm going to talk about a very popular Halloween pastime that I kind of have a love-hate relationship for, haunted houses. So I'm going to tell you how haunted houses first even got started, and then I'm going to tell you about a couple of haunted houses in or around Ohio, of course, that are actually haunted. Are you going to any haunted houses this year?
Probably. You can't do Halloween without haunted houses. There is a place in Oklahoma that's probably about like 20 minutes away from us. It's called the Muskogee Castle, and on the outside, like it looks like a castle. It's really neat. They do Renaissance Fair there every single year, and every single year that we've been here so far, we have not been able to go. Something always comes up. But for Halloween, all of October and part of September, they do a Renaissance style haunted house.
Cool.
So what like you walk in and it's like a village, like a Renaissance village. You can get your turkey leg, you can see jesters do all the things, but there's also like not haunted hay rides, but a haunted bus ride. They've got multiple haunted houses and there's shops, there's different things. So you're like inside of a small Renaissance village. It's neat. It's not scary enough for me, but it's really cool.
Cool. We just decided that we're going to go to Mansfield Prison. I've never been there, and it's only like $25 a person. Even though it's a 2-hour drive, I think it's going to be worth it.
I thought you've been there once before.
No, I've never been there. We planned on going there, and we never went. I'm also going to try to make it to both of the haunted houses that I'm talking about tonight, hopefully. So, haunted houses came about in different ways around like the 1800s. In the 1800s, Marie Tussaud's Wax Museum in London included a chamber of horrors where she displayed decapitated corpses of figures from the French Revolution. What is your cat doing? He's bumping into stuff.
He's bumping into the microphone.
Now, in 1915, there was a British amusement park that featured a haunted house where the floor would shake and from the corners you would hear demonic screams. So, but in the 1930s, that's when haunted houses really took off. In the 1930s, there was World War II going on and the Depression. So even though they had been doing variations of trick-or-treating before then, it stopped during the Depression because there was a sugar ration. And so, there was no candy made, there were no sweets made, so they stopped. Well, you know how they say trick-or-treat? The kids they wanted the treat, they're not getting it, so they're going to start playing tricks. But their tricks were they're just being little criminals. They weren't doing little stuff like egging people's houses, TPing people, playing ding dong ditch. I'm sure they did all that, but they did some crazier stuff too that gave them dick status. They would steal their neighbors' gates right off the hinges. I don't know how weak those gates were or how strong the kids were, but I don't know how they would do that, but they were doing it. They were also sawing off telephone poles.
Why?
Just to be little vandals, just to be little dickheads. They would flip cars and they stole dead bodies. Yeah. In 1879, around 200 boys laid a fake corpse across some railroad tracks in Kentucky and managed to stop the train.
Okay, so where were they trying to be resurrectionists?
No, they were stealing them from, like, schools, like medical schools.
Well, with all the medical schools that stole bodies. It's a
Yeah,
little poetic,
kinda.
but this is still wrong.
In the 1900s, medical students in the year 1900, medical students at the University of Michigan stole a headless corpse from the anatomy lab and propped it up at the front doors of the school. So, yeah, they would do some they would do some crazy stuff. So, the solution to all of this was to kind of bring back trick-or-treating also in any way they could, and haunted houses. Or they would throw parades, they'd have parties. These haunted houses would be in residential areas and they would be free. And what they would do is things like they would hang furs and strips of liver on the walls. So when you would go through and touch the walls, you would feel something slimy and then something furry and not know what it was.
Is that trying to resemble flesh?
I think so, yeah. And then from the ceiling, they would hang damp sponges and hair nets so that when you would walk through, it would kind of like graze your face and gross you out that way. They would have people sit in corners and moan and make scary noises to freak you out. So in 1969, that's when Disney opened up their haunted mansion and, of course, charged admission for it.
What business does Disney have doing hauntings? Like, what was that haunted house? Aren't they like Winnie the Pooh and
I have no idea. The last time I was at Disney, I was like 5 years old. I remember absolutely nothing about it. But I do plan on doing an episode about the dark side of Disney, so I'll
It's
make sure I
dark.
look into it then. Yeah. So the Haunted Mansion at Disney World set the path for everyone else to start opening up haunted houses and competing with each other, trying to make them more and more intense, like trap doors and grabbing people and separating them from their groups. And, now there's some haunted houses where you actually have to sign a waiver. If I have to sign a waiver to go into a haunted house, I'm not going.
That usually means that they can touch you, separate you, and there's actually a haunted house in Dearborn, Michigan, where if you make it through, you get your money back.
Yeah.
And you have to sign a waiver.
I think that's what Erebus is too. I might be wrong about that, but Erebus, I guess I've never been there. But Lauren, my son's girlfriend, my bonus daughter, if you will, she's been there and she says it's more of a psychological thing. Not a lot of people jumping out at you or anything, but like you'll be standing there and the walls will start coming in at you, or you'll be in a room and they'll start filling it up with balls, like from a ball pit. I don't know. I kind of want to go there, kind of not though. I don't know. The Haunted Hydro is one of the more kind of intense ones that I've been to, but I haven't been to the Haunted Hydro in a long time. I just remember that they did have separate doors at the end of it where you had to separate from your group and go by yourself through this door. What I didn't know, though, was it was the exit. The haunted house was over. But when we got to those doors and they told us what we were supposed to do, I refused at first. Like, I'm not doing that. You're not separating me from everyone else I'm with. And this monster had to break character and tell me, he goes, this is the exit. You guys on the other side are going to be together. It's fine. Nothing's going to happen. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, cool. Good to know.
Yeah. Speaking of the Haunted Hydro, did you know it's really haunted?
I've heard rumors on that, but never fully made sense to me. I'm going to yeet my cat.
Do you want me to pause it so you can handle him?
He's handled.
Okay. So there's a few different reasons why the Haunted Hydro could be haunted, and it starts with the land it's on. The Haunted Hydro is located in Fremont, Ohio, along the Sandusky River. And before it was anything else, it was a place where the Wyandot Indians settled for a while. There is a good water source, good food source. It makes sense. But wherever Indians settle, you know what they usually leave behind.
You don't mess with Indian relics.
Exactly.
Native American. The other word
Yes.
I can't say.
Indigenous people.
Let's try to be a little bit more
PC.
it's for this purpose, it's the right thing to do.
So the Wyandot Indians ended up moving on, and later a farmer settled there for a while. But in 1911, the hydro plant was built. The hydro plant supplied electricity to the whole city of Fremont and surrounding cities, but it was powered by water. So it was right there next to the Sandusky River. They were drawing water from the Sandusky River. They had to build a dam on the river just so that they could get more of that water supply to come into the hydro plant, right? So it it operated for 2 years, and in 1913 there was a huge flood. Now this flood is the worst flood in Ohio's history. This flood started Easter morning, March 23rd, 1913. It started as a sprinkle, and then it just started raining harder and harder and harder. And it rained for 5 days total. On March 25th, the river rose so much that it was removing layers of boulders and uprooting trees. By noon that day, 5 feet of water was spilling over the dam, and people were watching as the water was just carrying away parts of the dam until the dam finally just gave in and broke and was washed away. And it flooded the entire city of Fremont. Like, you couldn't even see the streets anymore. The water had risen up to, it was like 7 feet higher than it had ever been before. And it was around 21 and a half feet deep when it was at its worst. But 7 feet of water, that means there was at least 5 or 6 feet of water, you would think, all over the place. 460 people were killed. 550 homes were flooded, and at least 50 of those homes were completely destroyed. When it hit the hydro, it hit with such force that it washed gates completely away. It pulled the pipelines loose that were feeding water to the plant. The pipes just got ripped right out and washed away, completely destroyed the building. The mayor actually called for help, and Toledo and Sandusky sent rescue boats to help. They had to send boats. You couldn't drive through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I've read about this and listened to a podcast. I think it's Ohio Mysteries, did an episode on that flood. And I think that it's actually, at that time, not only the biggest flood in Ohio, but also the nation. And if I remember right, if you drive through there, they actually have like markers around one of the bridges where the highest, it'll say the year, it'll say how many feet the water got.
So you can go there and actually see just how bad it was. That's
um,
cool.
So Waterville, Ohio has the same thing, but I do remember going through Fremont. I am 99% sure that it was Fremont that I went through. And it was after a flood that had already taken place. I want to say it was around like 2010. And a lot of the residents have kayaks and canoes just for the purpose.
Wow.
I mean, same with Waterville, Ohio, but
That's kind of cool. But this flood was pretty tragic.
yeah, but it's kind of amazing that something that you were researching coincides with something I was researching as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, the plant ended up being, after that flood went away, the water went away, the plant ended up being reopened. And it operated until 1925. 1925, they came up with more modern ways to supply the city with electricity, so it kind of made the plant obsolete. So by 1954, they had taken the generators out and everything, and they used it as a warehouse as well as a clubhouse for the nearby golf course. But in the 80s, Crazy Bob bought the plant and made it a haunted house. But this haunted house is actually haunted for real. People have reported to see, they'll be walking around the haunted house, you know, doing what you do at haunted houses, and they will see people where they probably shouldn't be as a monster, you know, and then they'll describe it to someone later. And that ended up not being one of the actors there. So what they were seeing was a ghost. these ghosts seem to present themselves as physical as we are, kind of like in American Horror Story, how they portray ghosts like you can be talking to one thinking that it's a live person and you would never know that this
Mhm.
person is dead. That's kind of cool. And it kind of makes sense too. In a way, if you believe in this kind of stuff, it kind of makes sense because in a haunted house, you have so many people going in and out of it, and they're laughing and they're screaming. That generates a lot of energy, and that's what spirits feed off is energy. Just like when paranormal investigators will go into somewhere that's haunted, they'll realize that their camera battery is completely drained. We're batteries. And so that's where they get their power. That's the more energy they get, the more physical they can present themselves to us. So that makes complete sense to me. But these ghosts, it doesn't seem like they need to be feared. One is the ghost of a little girl in a white dress, about 10 years old. They think that she was either a little girl who died in the flood, or she was the daughter of the farmer that was living there before the plant was built. There's also the ghost of a construction worker who fell off the wall to his death while he was
Okay.
rebuilding the plant after the flood. And then there is the ghost of a makeup artist named Bert. They called him Artie. And he was a prankster. He was well loved. I mean, everybody just had a great time with him. He wore these goofy glasses all the time, and he would constantly be playing tricks. So the workers will notice sometimes that something will be moved from one place to another, or something will be missing completely, and then it'll show up exactly where it was supposed to be the whole time. And they're pretty sure it's Artie just playing his pranks. He also had like a little studio way in the back of the hydro that had a wooden door. And the studio is where he would do everybody's makeup, all the monsters' makeup, you know?
Mhm.
This wooden door will just suddenly slam shut out of nowhere. And they have also seen him, and they know it's him because he's still wearing those goofy glasses. They also say that the paranormal activity acts up more when it's raining outside. So I'm thinking that there's paranormal activity there all the time, but when it's raining outside, it ramps up because the spirits of the people who died in the flood, that's when they're active.
And that also makes sense because when you were talking about the spirits having, like, you're not going to really see any ghosts and whatnot in cemeteries because there's no energetic activity. You're more likely to see them in like shopping centers because they feed off of energy. There's nothing in cemeteries.
Yeah.
What if it's lightning? Thunder and lightning, just
It
the
could be.
elements.
It could be. Another reason why they think the hydro might be haunted is because remember when I told you the Wyandotte Indians settled there for a while?
Yeah.
W- When they were digging up the land to lay the piping to feed from the Sandusky into the hydro, they dug up a Native American burial site. Crazy Bob also has a real skeleton on display. It's laying in a coffin. And I don't remember it being there. I'm pretty sure it's still there now. I think it's towards the beginning, or like you walk past it when you're still in line to get in. That skeleton is real. Nobody really knows where he got it from, but they're thinking it was from a specialized supplier. But there's also a theory that it could be one of the skeletons that they dug up from the Native American burial site, which is very bad. That's not
So,
good.
so I haven't been to the haunted hydro since you took me when I was what, like probably 10, 11 years old.
If that.
There is, I wanna say it's near Archbold, Ohio, it's called Scream Acres. They
Mhm.
have an oddity section where they show, like, the mermaid and just the random oddities that, like, would be on sideshows back in, like, the late 1800s, early 1900s, and those are fake. So, are we sure that this skeleton at Haunted
It's
Hydro.
it's been confirmed that it's real, and they've tested it, and it's female.
Okay.
Yep. Yes, it
And
is confirmed to be a real female skeleton.
And it's probably one of those things while you're waiting in line, it's like, "Oh, here are the oddities to look at," and just so
It might
happens
be.
this one's real.
Yeah, and you would never know unless someone told you.
Yeah, and you're not fully paying attention because you're in line for anywhere from an hour to who the hell knows how long,
Yeah.
and you don't remember it because it's just one of those things while you're waiting to look at.
Yeah, plus there's monsters fucking with you while you're just sitting in line.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, too many distractions to realize that you're looking at a real skeleton.
Okay, that's really cool, though. It's
It
wrong. It
it's
up and down.
wrong, but yeah, exactly.
At least our listeners that like this will understand where we're coming from.
Like why it's cool.
Yeah, why it's cool.
Now let's go to Michigan and talk about the Eloise Asylum. The Eloise Asylum is in Westland, Michigan, Wayne County. It's about 18 miles away from Detroit. And this was active from 1839 to 1982. And some sick shit happened there. And I'm kind of disgusted by the fact that this shit was going on until 1982. It's pretty late. They knew better by then. Now, this was originally a poorhouse and a farm. They didn't treat mental illness. People would go there because they couldn't afford to live. So the belief was that physical labor would remedy mental illness. They had no idea how to treat mental illness at the time. And these people were given food and shelter in exchange for physical labor, but they gave them absolutely no medical attention at all. It became a hospital, a mental hospital, in 1913. And then there were real attempts to treat mental illness as a medical condition, meaning a bodily thing, because they thought it was a bodily illness. They didn't know. Eloise ended up being the largest psychiatric facility in the U.S. It was on 902 acres. It had 78 buildings, and it was completely self-sufficient. It had a police and fire department. It had a railroad and trolley system, a bakery, an amusement hall, a post office, laundry facility, power plant, a farm with dairy cows, pigs, a root cellar, tobacco curing, greenhouses. This place was massive. And patients were put to work in some of these places because they believed that mental patients being put to physical work was therapeutic for them. But this wasn't just a mental facility. People from Detroit started going there to get dialysis treatment and things like that. So it was part regular hospital, part mental institution, and still kind of part of a poorhouse. Some kids that were there when it was a poorhouse, they were still there. Either their parents dropped them off there because they couldn't afford to take care of them and just left them there, or their parents ended up dying there, but they were alone. The thing was, it became a situation where there was no separation between the medical patients, the mental patients, and those kids. They were all intermingling, and the mental patients got the worst of it. And I'm assuming it kind of traumatized the kids and the other medical patients. They were used as guinea pigs. They did things like lobotomies, electroshock therapy, hydrotherapy, where they would strap you down and put you in a pool of water, and it would either be scalding hot or it would be ice cold.
Yeah, so it's haunted right now? Does the property still stand?
The property, parts of it still stand. There are some buildings that are still standing. And yes, it is a haunted house now. It's a haunted house attraction.
So I'm kind of upset about this. We recently just recorded an episode on insane asylums.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be the next episode after this.
So I am a little upset that I did not find this in my research, but I was also doing the history on insane asylums, going back to like, oh God, as soon as I do an episode and we record it, the information is erased out of my mind. I want to say 1200s, around 1200 in London is the first recorded. Could also go back to like 1485. I really don't remember, but like, I cannot believe that I did not come across this for that episode. That would have been a really good part of that episode. But We'll find out next week.
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you real quick about one of the experiments that is just crazy. It reminded me of American Horror Story, Asylum, this Asylum season.
Oh, it's my favorite. Well, that and Coven.
Of course, Coven. Anyways, there was an experiment called the Rosenhan experiment. A doctor named Rosenhan, what he would do is send completely sane people to different mental hospitals to pretend to need medical attention. They would say that they're hearing voices and shit like that to be admitted. And I think they were supposed to report back and see what kind of experiments or whatever they were doing at these other places. Well, like I said, they didn't know much about mental illness back then. It wasn't like they had a psychiatrist sitting there going, "You're good. You can be released.
No.
You need to stay." They weren't real good at that kind of shit yet. So they couldn't determine whether someone was actually mentally ill or if they were okay to be released. So these people would be admitted into the hospital to kind of be moles, but then when they tried to leave, they couldn't leave. They wouldn't let them leave. The thing about that is, though, it was a very instrumental part of them reforming the mental institutions because people were outraged by this. And so someone finally stepped in and said, okay, there is something seriously wrong with these mental institutions. We need a reform.
Yeah, they believed that there was no mental illness. That wasn't a thing. It was healing the body, which we'll get into when we get into that episode.
Yeah. So all of this shit that went on created hauntings. People will see shadow figures all over the building. There's poltergeist activity like doors slamming, medical carts and tables being turned over. And it's believed that souls will linger if there has been injustice done to them. They're angry souls. And yeah, there was a lot of injustice done there. So I can imagine.
I'd be pissed off too.
And I'm sure that it ramps up again around Halloween season when everyone's there doing the haunted tour because there's so much energy to feed off of. But I don't really think these ghosts are anything to be feared. And I'll tell you why. People see ghosts of two children running through the halls and they'll turn a corner and just disappear. These are believed to be the children from the poorhouse, and they're finally in the afterlife allowed to relax and run around and play and laugh and be happy. Very sad. Because can you imagine what their life was like?
And now you've got all this energy there, and we woke them up. They're pissed.
Well, yeah, they're pissed, but they're not.
They want to relax.
Yeah. So there is a belief that they're playing in a type of purgatory, either reliving their life over again, or like I said, finally being able to play and be happy. That's not the only thing that's there, though. In one of the still standing buildings, a lady who appears as a white vapor shows up, and someone has recorded an EVP of her whispering, "Help me." Another person that's seen is drenched in water, believed to be the victim of hydrotherapy. And then there's a person wearing a smock covered in blood, believed to be from a lobotomy. And then, this is the creepy part, it reminds me of House on Haunted Hill. There is the ghost of a doctor. Do you remember that part where they see him on the monitor, the way he's walking, the way he's moving?
And then he like shakes his head on camp. No.
Yes. That's the creepiest part of that movie for me.
Oh God. I love that movie though.
Me too. It's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
The thing is though, is I don't think that any of these spirits need to be feared, except for maybe the doctor. But all of these other spirits come out, they were victims of this doctor's experiments. When they come out, they're looking for the doctor. They torment the doctor. That's what the lore says, is they're showing up to look for that doctor. They don't care about you.
Vengeance. I would do the same thing.
Yeah.
You did experiments on me? Screw you. I'm coming after you. Like, our souls are for eternity. Guess what?
Exactly. You're stuck with us now.
Yep.
There's one other story that I want to tell you. Let me find it.
Cat is being a pain in the ass right now.
Okay, you ready for this last story?
Maybe. Is it any good?
Shut the fuck up. Okay. This story is actually from our very first listener suggestion. Jason, who I know from high school, when we did the Haunted Bridges episode, when that came out, he messaged me like a video of someone talking about this story I'm going to tell you. And yeah, we said in the beginning, you write us in and give us a suggestion, we're going to look it up. So I did.
So it's about- I
it's
did
a
that one.
haunted. I know. Okay, so this is a haunted bridge, but before I start, I got to give a trigger warning. We said that we were not going to do animal cruelty. This is not animal cruelty, but it does have something to do with animals, and it could be disturbing for some animal lovers. So, just warning you now that you might not want to hear this, but this was just too bizarre not to tell. This bridge is called the Overton Bridge, and it's in Scotland. It was built in 1895. It's over 100 years old, and there is a 50-foot gorge below. The fucked up part of this bridge is that sometime in the 1950s, they dubbed it Dog Suicide Bridge. It's reported that 300 to 600 dogs have jumped off this bridge, and 50 of them have died. 50 of them that they know of have died.
It's also reported that there is a dog or two that have actually jumped off the bridge more than once.
That's fucking crazy. So the paranormal part about it is that the location and quietness of the place, it's secluded, it fits the description of what the pagan Celts called a thin place where heaven and earth overlap, and it somehow bewitches the dogs. So, okay. A local taxi driver, Alistair Dutton, he says, we grew up playing in the Overton grounds, and we believe in ghosts here because we've seen them and felt them. So it could be supernatural. There's one story about a dog having jumped off the bridge, and this happened sometime around, this article that I looked up was posted in 2017, and she's telling the story. She said it was about 3 years ago, so I'm thinking 2014 this happened. Lottie McKinnon was walking her border collie over the bridge. She said something overcame Bonnie as soon as we approached the bridge. At first she froze, but then she became possessed by a strange energy and ran and jumped right off the side of the bridge. She fell 50 feet. This gorge is 50 feet deep. So she, of course, panicked, thinking that her dog was dead. She goes, I was sure that she was dead. So Mrs. McKinnon climbed down the gorge through bushes and trees and weeds, desperately looking for her dog. And her dog finally spotted her and started whining, like, I'm over here, I'm over here. And she tried to stand up, but she couldn't. I think she broke one of her legs. But Mrs. McKinnon said it was a miracle that she survived. Now, the bridge is also kind of sort of an extension of the driveway of an old 19th century manor. They call it Overton House. And the residents that live there now is a pastor named Bob Hill and his wife. And they say that from their property, they will see dogs very often just jumping off the bridge. And he thinks what it is the smell of all the animals down below in the gorge, which I understand. I can kind of see that because when I walk my dog, if he sees a squirrel, he's gone. He goes nuts. If I didn't have him on a leash, I'd never see that dog again. So I can see it. But that many dogs? Like, it's happening all the fucking time.
So when I was doing research on haunted bridges, that is one that I came across, and I thought about doing it. One, it's too weird. It's not necessarily the haunted that I wanted to do. But I did read that when you're on the bridge, and especially like in a dog's perspective, like I can't remember, they can't see color, can they?
Some colors, yeah.
Some. So the perspective that they have when you're looking over the bridge, because the bridge it's not like a normal straight across bridge of what you would drive over. It's more of a walking path.
Mm-hmm.
What you would think it's cobblestone.
On each side, there is like a little wall, like a guardrail so that you don't just fall right off the damn thing. But it's obviously not high enough because the dogs can just jump right over it.
Yeah, well, they've actually done surveying out there, and they believe that in a animal's perspective, with the creek or whatever it is below, I can't remember from the research, and the trees around, they actually think that it's lower, the ground is lower than what it actually is. From their
You mean higher?
higher, yes, from their perspective, because of the way the horizon is.
Okay,
And
or they're just seeing the tops of the trees and they're thinking that's what they're gonna land on.
or the rocks is something. There is something there that they think that they're going to land on, but it also definitely could be the smell. Like it's a complete mystery. And I did
Mhm.
not do that bridge because again, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And while it's not exactly animal cruelty and it is a trigger warning, it's still just messed up and sad that I didn't want to cover it. I
It
wanted to
really
cover
is.
something else.
That's so sad.
And naturally, of course, I would know the bridge because of Scottish and Irish and all the things
Of
over there
course.
where I should have been born at.
Yeah.
But
And I was thinking that why don't they just destroy the bridge? Just get rid of it. But then again, if if that's the only way to get across that gorge, there's really nothing else that you can do. You can't get rid of it.
I
And
do
if you
believe that
build
there has been
another bridge, there's
petitions.
going to jump off that one. Have there been?
I think there has been. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But people have been wanting that bridge to be replaced, but it's also a historical bridge.
Yeah.
You kind of don't mess with historical structures in Scotland or Ireland.
I know, but those poor babies. I care more about the dogs.
Something should be changed.
Yeah.
Just don't walk your dog over it. Like, everyone knows what's going on.
Yeah,
Just don't
keep your dog
just
out. Yeah, but
don't
there's
take a
probably
walk.
stray dogs that do it. There's probably stray dogs that just roam around, or, people probably just let their dogs roam.
Imagine living in that house and, "Oh, hey, there goes another one." Like, it's
I couldn't
not
live there,
right.
I'd move.
No.
Oh my God, that would ruin my whole day. That would ruin my whole week if I saw even one of them jump over. I'd
Like,
be down in
also
that gorge looking for dogs all the time.
I don't know why I'm laughing because this isn't funny, but I'm also thinking about, alright, when a dog jumps over
Yeah.
and it does not survive, all the other animals that are also gonna come,
Yeah.
maybe the other dogs on the bridges, or on that bridge, it's just a
Can
combination of
smell the
smelling
other dog. Yeah.
and not
Just
the
making
other
the whole
dog,
thing
but
worse.
I'm not
Yeah.
sure I wanna finish that thought.
Probably not.
Like, all the animals that could be hanging out in that area because they know that there's a food source?
Maybe. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah. So thank you, Jason, for disturbing us for the fucking night. But also thank you for the suggestion. I love it.
It's nothing new to me, that's why I didn't wanna cover it, but
Now, before we go, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has been listening to us so far. I know it's been kind of rough at the beginning, but I feel like by now it's gotten a little bit better for you, hopefully.
we're trying.
We're trying. If you haven't yet, I would love to ask, just do all the things. Like, follow, comment, leave a review, subscribe, all of the things. Because the more attention this podcast gets, the more visible the platforms make us to potential new listeners, which gets us closer to our goal of having more freedom and more time to go more in depth with our research and give you cooler shit every time we do this. So
It
either
really
way,
helps us.
yeah.
If you
Either
don't
way,
like us, share it with your enemies. If you like us, share it with your best friends. Regardless, you're sharing. Just that helps us out.
yes. And if you've been listening from the very beginning religiously, oh my God, we love you for that. Thank you. That's all I have for tonight, though.
Well, I do have a question.
Okay.
The hydro plant that you were talking about in Fremont, is that the
Yeah.
same plant that jumps over Route 2 on our way to Cedar Point?
No, that's Davis Bessie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I haven't lived in Ohio in almost 10 years. I have not been to Sandusky in 10 years.
Is it Davis Bessie or Davis Betsy?
It's one of the two.
Yeah, whatever. Everybody knows what we're talking about, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
let's face it,
especially when
there's
you live
nobody
there,
that's yeah, no, there's nobody that's listening to us right now that isn't from Ohio and doesn't know us personally on some level or another at this point.
you know what we're talking about. And if you don't know what we're talking about, we said one of the two correct names. That's on you look it up. That's your homework. Look it up.
I don't think they care.
No. But what is top 3 favorite Halloween movies?
Well, I gotta watch Beetlejuice. Um, I like Practical Magic a lot. I love, love, love House on Haunted Hill, but right now my favorite scary movies are the Terrifier movies. Do you know what that is? Art the Clown.
You like different things than I do when it comes to that.
It is the goriest, most ridiculous shit. Art is actually funny. He's funny. I mean, it's a really gory horror movie, but you're laughing through the whole thing. He doesn't talk. It's just his actions that are funny as hell. Just watch it. Just watch it. At least the first one. There's 3 of them so far.
Honestly, I probably won't.
Well, Sam's moving back here soon, so I think when she moves back here, I'm going to make her watch them with me. Yeah, that's a plan.
Mine are Hocus Pocus, House on Haunted Hill, and It's All One, but not all of the Halloween movies. They only have to be Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, Michael Myers is the shit.
Yeah, he's scary
But-
as fuck. I don't understand how you can be running as fast as you can, and he doesn't run. He doesn't run, he just walks. But somehow, he ends up in front of you. Fuck that shit. Or he'll be standing by a tree, and you'll see him there, and he'll just look at you and cock his head a little bit. And if you just glance away and look back, he's gone. Where the fuck did he go? That, I don't like that. That freaks me out.
For me, it's Jamie Lee Curtis. I mean, her mom was the original slasher with Psycho. She's a scream queen. It's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah. Yeah, her mom was in Psycho. She was the one in the, wasn't she the one in the shower scene? She gets stabbed in the shower.
Yes, and then she does make an appearance in Halloween H2O and giving credit back to Psycho. So if you know Psycho and you know the Halloween movies, watch Halloween H2O. It's kind of like throwbacks and
yeah, wasn't there kind of an Easter egg in it?
Yeah.
Wasn't she driving the same car that she drove in Psycho or something like that?
She drove the same car. There is a lot of Easter eggs, but
Cool.
I mean, I'm not going to go over them. We'll be here another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
If you like Halloween, then you're going to know. And if you don't, then go damn watch the movies. But kind of sounds like 'tis time.
Righto.
'Tis time, sisters.
Amuck, amuck, amuck. All right. Well, thanks for watching. We hope to see you next time.
Have a good night.
Have a good night. Happy Halloween.